Hey folks, Kilt-Man here, Kilt-Man at your services. How are you all? I hope you're all doing very, very well. Now, got something special for you. Something we haven't done for a while. We're going to review a knife, a big blade, one hell of a monstrous blade. It's truly, truly awesome. Now, ordinarily, I would be outside, putting it through its paces, chopping wood, going through big plastic bottles full of water, scything things, chopping down trees, you name it. If it's there, I'm gonna hack it. But I can't because it's raining. Rain stopped war today, I'm afraid. So no fighting today. Such a shame, but it's been raining really bad for the last couple of days, and it is set to continue for the next 5 days. Woo, that's great, isn't it? So yeah, I mean, not only would you not see much apart from the tippling rain, you wouldn't hear anything either, so there's no point. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you the blade, talk about it a lot, and then hopefully in not too distant future, I'll be able to go out there and show you what it can do. And believe you me, I had a quick go when it first arrived, and yeah. Although, as Mrs. Kilt-Man said, don't chop down any more trees, because we haven't got that many left now, to be honest. And I destroyed our shed, the big garden shed, with me old English longbow, didn't I? So my history of destruction on our own property is boundless. Anyway, we're going back to the American Civil War. Oh, yes, we are. Because look what I've got to show you today. 'Tis here. That's not a knife. That's a knife. Look at that! Look at that! That is a great big DBAD Old War, American Civil War Bowie knife. Yeah, I know. Some of you are going, oh, what? You said Bowie. It's Bowie. Well, you say Bowie, I say Bowie. Bowie. I have the same conundrum with David Bowie. But this is designed, created by DBAD, Donnie all day, DBAD all day. He's an American knife creator, knife designer, has his own YouTube channel discussing blades, and he's fantastic. And he has a close association to the Khukuri House in Nepal. The Khukuri House, they're called the Khukuri House Handicraft Industry. The KHHI, that's it. And he's got quite a close affiliation with these people now. And he designs these knives and they make them. So they're customized blades, which are truly devastatingly awesome. He has a line of his own takes on the Rambo knives, and they're pretty spectacular. And all of his stuff is fantastic. I will put the link below to his channel, and I'll put the links to the Khukuri House as well. So, what have we got here? Well, first of all, look at that sheath. That is a wonderful, wonderful sheath. And being as they're the Khukuri House in Nepal, they make kukri blades. Now, you guys know I've got quite a few kukri blades, all vintage, all well used, all with sheaths that you've got to be really careful when removing that kukri from its sheath, because if you put your pinkies over the edge, you're going to lose them because the spines on the sheath have given way. When you've got big blades which arrive sharp, because this is sharp, and you take them out, you're going to think, oh, get your fingers away from there. Now, I can tell you that is really thick, beautifully thick, so you've got nothing to worry about. And I'm going to put it back in for a second. You don't get that. Listen to it coming out, listen to it coming out. Smooth. Smooth as a baby wipe on a toddler's bum. Absolutely smooth. There's no like sting. There shouldn't be. There shouldn't be. Any that do that, it's in a movie and they've added the sound effect. Or you've got a bit of loose metal in there, so it shouldn't be making a shing noise. It should come out silent. A kind of like that, like a dog fart. Beautiful sheath. Immaculately designed. You've got a beautiful little buckle there for your leg strap, and you got it down there like that, and you pull this out, and this is take which was heavily used throughout the American Civil War by both sides, the North and the South. And as you can see, I've got the South there, but I've also got the North there. And I've got Custer over here. If he'd had one of these, the Sioux would have took it off him and rammed it right up his arse. But Jim Bowie, you know, a famous knife fighter, died at the Alamo, died. He was actually in his sick bed when he died, and he still took out 9 Mexicans, maybe more, who knows. He was ill with, I think, not tuberculosis. I think that killed his wife and his 2 daughters. It was pneumonia, I think he had. How'd you get pneumonia in Texas? But anyway, he went down fighting, and his life was one of violence. His brother designed the famous Bowie knife for him, and I think the jury's out. I've read so much about this guy, and I've heard different names bandied around about being the guy who actually forged the big hunting knife. It's a combat knife. It's a big, wicked weapon, and his was famous. You know, he was involved in so many fights. The famous one where 3 assassins were sent to take him down, and they were armed with rifles. But he got the upper hand. One was found disemboweled, one was almost decapitated, and one had his skull completely split in 2. And Jim Bowie just walked out of there with his trusty knife. Next, anyone? Any takers? Come on. Yeah, he was a violent man, but he became synonymous with carrying a great big blade, a hunting blade. It is, you guys know it. You've got your clip point, quite a lovely swedge on this. You've got a thick spine. You've got very deep, long, elongated fullers, which of course, you're going to get a lot of gleam. This is 5-100 carbon steel, which is immensely strong, incredibly durable, and really shock absorbent. You know, it laughs at impacts. It's not going to bust, it's not going to break. It ain't going to do that. You know, you could bring this down you could hit the earth enough times to crack the entire planet in 2, and there wouldn't be a scratch on this. It's highly polished. I know some people don't like that sort of thing, they like them blackened, but I think this is lovely. Now, you're hearing, of course, the fantastic score, Ennio Morricone's score to The Good, the Bad and the Ugly, which was an American Civil War movie, all filmed in Spain, of course. Almeria in Spain. But back to this. The Confederates, the Johnny Rebs, tended to wield these. Now, again, history is always a bit shady on how much use these things got in the American Civil War. But the simple fact is, historians say that only a handful of people, really, statistically speaking, died of wounds from bladed weapons, be they knives, swords, sabres, or bayonets. It was very rare. But there's other historians that say that, actually no, when he went into a big melee and a big skirmish and it was hand-to-hand combat, you couldn't use your bayonet. Your rifle was taken away from you. You'd have to resort to this. And it was the boys of the South who were known for wielding these, but the North used them as well. It wasn't just resigned to the men of the South, but they did brandish it with serious sort of dedication. And we can back this up because so many of the Civil War pictures, don't forget, the American Civil War was possibly the first really well documented and photographically chronicled war that we've ever had, because photography was really, really prevalent then. So you have millions and millions of photographs of the American Civil War and all the people that took part in it. And a lot of Johnny Rebs who posed for pictures, because they were always doing this, they'd be sitting there with that poker face in the picture, always looking a bit stiff and a bit off to one angle as well. Young boys, a lot of them, but with big long mountain man beards. And they'd be there, they weren't showing any firearms, but they were showing one of these, sitting there proudly off to one side like that, with their big Bowie knife. Because, it was fearsome. I mean, you imagine it. The skirmish lines have done their bit, suddenly you're charging against each other, and shit, I'm out of ammo as well, and you see someone coming at you with one of these. That's it, I'm out of here. I'm gonna Tom Cruise it back that way, if you don't mind. Now, a D-guard. A lot of Bowies don't have a D-guard. Why would you have a D-guard? Well, in a war situation, a battle scenario, where you're not just hunting with it, you're actually going to be fighting with it. And let's be brutally honest here. Although your campcraft can be done with this, you can whittle away, you can skin a deer, you can obviously hunt the animal in the first place and kill it, skin it, disembowel it, do whatever with it. You can also hack down trees and build your shelter. You can build a house with the damn thing. You know, it is a jack of all trades, but it's not built for that. It's built for fighting. It's built for war. And this thing, it is a war machine. It simply is. So your D-guard is there primarily for protection of your wee pinkies. These little guys here holding it. That's to protect them primarily. But it can also, of course, be used, you know, right, you've done your downward swing, and the bow's still standing, boof! And you smack him right in the jaw with that, or the bridge of the nose, you take him down. But that is super, super hard, super rigid, and we are talking a full tang here. I'll go into all the specs of this, but that is a full, fantastic tang, all the way through, shot through. You've got your steel pins through, your rosewood scales. Now, when you buy these, you've got a choice. You've got micarta or you've got rosewood. Well, if you're going to go for a vintage looking blade, don't put micarta on it. You want something that they would have had back in those days. So rosewood. Now, when I first opened this, and it wasn't raining, which wasn't today, by the way, and I ran outside, I'm going to use this. Whoa. You know, it's everywhere. Wham, boosh. And better be careful doing this in here, because this is the big movie room. There's speakers everywhere. There's a great big massive screen behind you guys. If this flies out of my hand, I'm not sure insurance will pay up somehow. But and the rosewood was actually changing colour in the sunlight. It just added a nice bit of, that's really pretty, that. So not only is it a lethal, brutal beauty, it's genuinely hypnotic as well. You're not going to capture that in the light in here, but I hope you can see. Now again, going for like a wooden grip. Micarta is great because it gives you a real good grip. It's very tactile, it's wonderful. But again, wood softens, but in a good way, and it becomes ergonomic. It will mold to your hand, and it's comfortable, and it gets to know you. It was once alive, it could still be. Now, if you look in here, there is some slight ergonomics taking place there, which is nice. It's not too profound. There's many other knives that have proper, you've got the proper ridges to put your fingers in and all that. Well, that's all well and good. Not necessary. And with this, it sits in the hand really comfortably. Now, I've only got small hands, but great big fat sausage fingers, but only small hands. And it fits and it's comfortable. I haven't put the weight down on this, or have I? I should have done. But I didn't. But here's the factoids, right? It specifies that this is a 14-inch blade. Actually, having measured it, this is nearer to 14.5 inches. It's just shy of 14.5 inches, which is lovely. So it's a bit bigger again. They do say it's a 6-inch handle, 6-inch. I actually think it's slightly less than that, but again, give and take. You have the castle nut at the end here. Now again, that's going to anchor on your D-guard. Not that this is going anywhere, folks, because as I said, there's a massive, thick, full tang in there. Look at that. There ain't no mistaking that. That's going nowhere. It's not going to snap. It's not going to shatter. Nothing's going to happen there. But things could work loose slightly. Now, I already did do a fair bit of chopping and hacking and stuff, and that did not shake loose. And there's nothing going wrong with that. It shouldn't do. It shouldn't do. But a lot of blades you buy, they're mainly decorative pieces, but you think, well, no, they've designed it properly with proper full carbon steel. It should be able to do something. They say it's got a full tang, so off you go, hacking merrily away, and after 5 minutes you go, hang on, it's wobbling. Well, there you go. Not so with this baby. But as I say, I will put it through its paces properly. Now, again, you might have noticed there is a ricassa. Now, the reason why that is there, well, a lot of Bowies don't have them. They are just straight blade. Right from the guard onwards, it's blade, all the way blade. But there were many variants, and some do have your ricasso. Now, the reason for that would be, it's so you can put your finger outside the guard and without cutting your finger on your own blade. And the reason why you would do that is to give you more purchase, more wield, more torque as well, and you can feel it. Now, why would you do that? Why would you bother taking your finger out from the guard to do that? Well, on a lot of blades, you don't have the D guard, so you've just got the cross guard, but it would still mean putting your finger in harm's way. Now, but there are many reasons why you do it, and obviously getting to know your blade and getting experience in certain scenarios, you'd pick up on when you were going to do it, and afterwards you quickly bring it back in again, protection again. But the size of this, and as I say, it's a 14-inch blade, but more like 14 and a half than the one that I have right here. It could be wielded as a short sword. That was in the Civil War. It was kind of documented as being a short sword, used like a saber with the exact same functionality and the exact same maneuverability. So if you're on horseback, you draw that and you're coming down with the hack and the slash whoosh, onto heads and shoulders. You could easily bring that finger out, put it there, nice and safe to give you more purchase. And you'd notice it really does give you more of a, just notice, I'll probably take the light bulb out now, you know, and it lean down. Overall, the handle and everything, the length of the blade to the clip point, you have got about 20 inches of length and leverage. That's pretty impressive for a knife, for God's sake, for a knife. Now, you may have noticed this. Why is that there? Your quilling. Now, your quillings run either side of your cross guard, but a lot of blades, be they sword, be they knife, have decorative sort of shaped quillings. So they go off all, do weird things, especially like Persian and Asian sort of blades. They make S's and all sorts of stuff like. And but there is a practical reason for it as well, especially given the way that this would be used in skirmishing. Because what you do, again, perfectly protected with this as well. So when blades are coming at you like a bayonet and another knife, say someone else with one of these, or someone with a saber, so it won't slide down the blade and take your fingers off because you've got that. But with this as well, someone who knows what they're doing, whatever comes at you, you can use that to hook the bayonet, drag it one way or the other. Say you did that with a saber or bayonet, and you hooked it that way, you would swing back and slash them across the belly, or the thighs, or the groin, or whatever. But you've moved it away from harming you. You can also disarm them. It's a way of gripping. And you can end up, I suppose, someone else who's got one of these, end up being locked around like that, but then you bring your nut in and your boot, and like, oh God, yeah, take you down regardless. You also have the castle nut here. Now, again, as I said before, that's kind of like, anchoring that on. But also, it's a skull crusher. Boing! Like that. You want some more? Boing! Yeah, it can do everything. Donnie B, on his video, did a fair bit of back cutting with this, which I did as well. Back cutting. It's where you're gonna, whoosh, you're gonna slash it back and forth. Apart from the penetrative thrust and your downward hack, your slashing, you can do your back cutting. And that has been ground down and sharpened a lot more than most swedges are. But it's not that sharp, if you know what I mean. But the point is very sharp. So if you're back cutting, now he did it on cardboard and then did it on wood. So I did the same thing. And I'll show you that when I get the chance to properly. I hacked through cardboard with it. It's not a move I would normally do, I'll be perfectly honest. It's not something wouldn't come to mind. But I saw him doing it, I thought, oh, I'll have a go at that. So I was back cutting something chronic. Yeah, it penetrated through lots of thick cardboard quite easily. So if that was flesh, it's going through. But I back cut it against some wood as well. And without chopping any trees down. And thank God it didn't actually. Now, the danger of that could have been very, very easy. The tip could have broke off. I mean, we know this has happened before. My good friend Scrubby, you know this. Now, and that was with a Khukuri blade, and the tip snapped off. And I was aware of that, but thought I'm going to try it anyway. Donnie B was doing it, so I thought it's the same thing, I'll have a go. It's fine, absolutely fine. But it's not a particular movement, act that I'm particularly fond of or have necessarily used, but it's there, it's an option. So once again, this is an American Civil War recreation done by Donnie B, DBAD as he's known. And it is truly astonishingly wicked and beautiful to behold. There's so many features to it. The spine is, I think, 6.5 millimeters wide, and that's pretty consistent. That's hefty as well. Well, I was going to say, I haven't got the overall weight of it here right now, but I didn't write that down. But I thought that I thought it would weigh more. I genuinely thought it would weigh more. But I often wield a big chopper, so I'm kind of used to it, I suppose. But the thing is, it does feel massively substantial, and your downward swing, your momentum, wow, that's going to dismemberment, limb loss, campcraft. You're taking trees down to build your log cabin. That's what you're doing. I don't advocate violence at all, and it is very sharp. Out the box, it's sharp. Now I know that Donnie did the arm hair trick, did a bit of shaving there. I tried that. Nothing came off, but my hair is so thick. I'm like Bigfoot, it's not going to come off me. Christ, I need a bloody chainsaw to give me a close shave. So no, it didn't quite do that for me, but it is outstanding regardless. I'll show you something else as well. What you get with Khukuri House is you get your warranty, you get instructions on how to use, mainly about kukris, but blade etiquette and blade maintenance, still pretty universal. And you get this. I don't know if you can see this. You get, it's all warped out by the ring light. But this is from the Khukuri House, the Craftsman biodata. So there's a photograph there of the guy that actually made that. And his name, I'll give him a big shout out, Lok Bahadur Lama, and in brackets, Subhash. His fingerprints are there as well. Right and left thumbprints, I think they are. His fingerprints are on it. And you get all these details. I'm not going to read them all out. Date of birth, permanent address, what family member number he is, marital status. Since he started working, he's been working as a craftsman since, working at KHHI since, and his own unique, his own marker, which is on the blade, which is a numeric 2, which I'll show you. His specialisation, knives, regular, panawal and special versions. Quantity per month, about 40 to 50 pieces. Academic qualification, grade 8. And his signature is down there too. Now that is, you can't see it at all, can you? But you know what I mean. That's amazing. So you're getting to know the guy that made this, and if you know blades and you know people who forge steel, it's going to give him birth. That is a creation in its own right, and you have birthed it. You've designed it. You've battled through the forging process. You've fashioned it, honed it, toned it, tempered it. So, you know, you are its daddy. So it gives you a personal attachment. And it really, I think it's a great idea. You know, not many places do that. In fact, I can't think of any other that do it. They might say who the craftsman was, but don't go to the extent of all that. But Subash, if that's your nickname, he's done a bang-up job. That is beautiful. I will say, and I'll say it right now because I know some people who would take umbrage with this. I don't know if you can see inside the right-angled quill in here. You probably can't see that too well. There's two little nicks in there, through the polished steel. I know people who complain about that. Not me. What the thing is, I wanted this. I picked this one specifically because it was a vintage type blade. It's like what you would find off the battlefields, although you wouldn't find it on the battlefield. No one's going to leave that lying around, are they? Although, is it Pickett's Field? One of these was found, and it's now in the Smithsonian. So there you go. I was wrong about that already, wasn't I? But basically, these would be plundered. If you've been in battle and you'd see that lying around, I'm having that, Jesus. And that's probably how a lot of these got into the hands of the North. But you've got to remember, the South weren't as readily well equipped as the North were. And I've got a connection to this whole thing. Where I am right now in Wallasey, the River Mersey is just behind me there. If I leave the Kilt Mansion and just go downhill, I'll be at the banks of the River Mersey within 5 minutes. Now, 2 miles across the River Mersey, right from where I am, as the crow flies, you've got the waterfront of Liverpool, you've got the Pier Head, the Liver Buildings and the Graces. The last act. I know everyone goes on about the ranch and all that for the last battle of the American Civil War. Yeah, I know. But the actual last act of the American Civil War took place here because the CSS Shenandoah surrendered at the Liverpool Pier Head, just behind me, 2 miles away. Now, why was that there? Because Liverpool and Birkenhead's that way. I'm in Wallasey, New Brighton's that way. This is the Wirral Peninsula, but the Mersey separates us from Liverpool, but we're all part of the same thing. Shipbuilding took place in Birkenhead at Laird's, and Laird's were building ships for the southern states, the Confederacy. Why? Well, you can guess why. Cotton trade. And because there were blockades, so suddenly we weren't getting the cotton. So the US, United States, the feds had to send spies here to try and sabotage ships that were being built, but some would get through, and they had quite a war record as well. And so the last act of the American Civil War was the surrender of the CSS Shenandoah, right here. And she also fired the last shot of the Civil War at a northern whaling ship as well in the Atlantic. So there's loads to talk about here, and about Jim Bowie as well. But we're here to talk about the knife. And even without showing you what it can actually do, you can see just how good it is. Oh, can you see the, I don't know if you can see it. Again, the ring light's probably pinging this all out to hell and back. There is a 2 there. Maybe if I turn the ring light off for a second, let's just try that. Yeah, there's a 2 there, and that's our boy's sign. On the other side, you have the trademark for the Khukuri House there. You can see that's there. So they'll always be there. Let's put the light back on again. Here we go. That is a massive monster of a blade. It is. I have other big Bowies. I mean, the Rambo knives are based on the Bowie design. Your clip point, you know, your deep blade, your thick, well, serrated in the case of the Rambo knives, spine. But it is a Bowie knife basically, and the Bowie knife will go on to form what took over from that infamous American fighting knife from World War I, which was that stiletto dagger with the skull crusher on one end and the spiked knuckle duster handguard. Oh my god, having held one of those, and I wish I still had it, but no longer. I just thought that is one of the most amazing knives I've ever seen. I was only a kid, my dad being the military historian and collector. He had one, in fact he had a couple of them I think. But he was like, oh, you be careful with that, son, just be careful. Now, that blade would snap. The stiletto blade was fantastic, and the idea was taken in by Fairbairn Sykes, who made the famous commando dagger from the UK, which of course then went all over the Allies and everywhere, and it's still one of the best knives in the world. But having that spiked knuckle duster as a guard was a bit of a pain when keeping it on your belt and sheath and getting it out. It could cause problems, so it was replaced by what would become the K-Bar US Marine Corps fighting knife. And the K-Bar is a company that made it, but other companies would make it, but K-Bar became synonymous and the name of the knife as far as anyone was concerned. And that is a wonderful, wonderful weapon. But and that was a Bowie design again. That was further modified. Bowies themselves were modified continually. I think Jim Bowie had a fair few different versions. His brother kept on redesigning them. So, but in essence, it was just a bloody big hunting combat knife. You can do your campcraft with it, yes you can. You can do shavings, you can do all sorts, you can do battening. But, you know, it will do all of that, but it's not designed for that. It's designed you know, and yeah, and it's pretty much unbeatable. It's peerless. So, folks, I can do nothing but recommend it. It is a beauty. Whether you want to put it on the wall, display it, or your other memorabilia, or you want to actually use it, take it out in the woods. In this country, I have a problem doing that. So, for me, it's in our own grounds, and it's just to have a look at and reflect upon my previous lives. I've said many times, I'm utterly convinced I was somehow involved at the Custer's Last Stand, Little Bighorn, and my biggest wish, before I die, I have to go to the Little Bighorn. And I've said before, Mrs. Kilt-Man knows, regular viewers know, I'm going to find a speck where I think that's where I fell, and I'm going to lie down and I'm not going to get up again. That's my pilgrimage, and I'm going back to where it all began. I've said all my reasons for this and why I believe it to be so, and holding something like this, it just kind of brings it all back to me again. It makes the blood surge through my veins. I know. I get like that sometimes. And but this is truly magnificent. Look at it. Of course, this is the final standoff between Blondie, Tuco, and Angel Eyes. This wouldn't do much good though, would it? You need one of these. Got one of these as well. Now, Donnie's a left-hander as well, and but he wears it on the right because his gun would be on the left side, as he says. So I get that. But of course, being a right hand, it's going to be on that side. So you draw it out. You can lean down from your horse. By the way, I wouldn't be on a horse. I'm crap on horses. I really am crap. So when I get to Little Bighorn, I'm not riding out there on a horse. I'll be on one of them quad bikes. So you get your warranty, you get your instructions and maintenance and all that. You get a wee catalogue of it's basically the cookeries that they do in the catalogue. But I'm going to put the link to their site as well, and to Donnie. Donnie, mate, I've got to be honest, that is amazing, truly amazing, worth every penny. Now, they are at affordable prices for the likes of you and me, who aren't mega bucks millionaires, you know. So, how much? Oh, I'll have 100 of them then. And I will say something else as well. In some cases, you think there's going to be quite a wait for blades. because they're going to forge it, they're going to build it, but obviously they've got them in stock. But with this, whether it was just sitting there lying around, either way, because they send you photos as well, they email you pictures of it sort of in construction stage, not quite finished off, and I thought, oh, it's going to take another few weeks or something like that. No. This was, I had this within a week, within about a week, maybe just over, and you can't say fairer than that, can you? That is just outstanding. So, it's the Old War Bowie. DBAD, Donnie all day. It's a beaut, isn't it? Look at that. I think something else I meant to say before as well. Oh, the bloody music's gone off. Let's get that cracking again. The fullers, you know, not only to keep the weight down, and the clip and the swedge keeps the weight down as well, and provides more sort of dexterous directionality and more momentum to the forward of the blade. Well, that's what these are doing as well. So the weight is down there, but it's a comfortable, very, very tactile, very wieldy sort of momentum that you get from it. So even if you're going like for the underhand, and you've then got to get down, use your legs for your balance and your strength, let it come from your back leg and drive it up, and then you can lift them up and throw away, you know. Don't go out practicing that. This is just educational, you know. But you go into combat with that, you're going to come back with it as well. You'll be covered in blood, but it won't be yours. Know what I'm saying? So, guys, Khukuri House, Donnie. Cheers, my friends. If you got it, raise it. I will do some hacking and chopping and cutting, but the rain's still coming down, and there's no sign of it abating at all. So, bloody hell, you know. So, American Civil War. Just because I'm over here in Blighty, we have a very, very strong connection to it. So, you know, it is what it is. I've just noticed that the picture over there, that's me when I was a lot younger, and that's Mrs. Kilt-Man when she was a lot younger. You notice I'm not wearing a kilt on that picture. If only she knew what was going to happen, that suddenly I'd be the one with the longer hair and the short skirt and the one with the blades. Have another look, travel along it, be dazzled by it, fall in love with it. Look at it, look at the edge as well. Look at that. I mean, that denotes power, that right there. There's your D-guard. There's your nut at the end. A nut on a nut. Then it gets you on the top of your nut. Oof. Ooh. Or one of your other nuts. Clever stuff. Great design. Very authentic to the ones that have been found, the ones that have been recovered and restored, and the collectors who have passed them down as heirlooms and stuff. So, terrific. And as I say, there might be a few little, well, there's two little specks where it's scuffed and the finish is gone, come away, but that matters not to me whatsoever. I like them to look like they've actually been involved in something, you know. But I know some collectors will be like, oh, no, it's got to be absolutely perfect. It's got to be the finish of the gods. Well, you might get that, you might not. It's up to you how you deal with it. Me, I'm immensely happy. I think it's a beaut. I have some other big Bowie knives, but this is the biggest and it's the best. I mean, the Rambo 3 knife, which was the biggest of the Rambo knife before he got the machete for Rambo 4. Yeah, that was great, and I've done a big video on the Rambo knives, and I love them to bits. But you want to see it compared to this, it's just like It's like a toothpick, and I don't mean an Arkansas toothpick, which Donnie does as well, and I wouldn't mind getting hold of that. And obviously you Crocodile Dundee Bowie, and you've got the Expendables Bowie, which I've got for Gunner, which is Dolph Lundgren's character. That is actually quite close to the same size as this, but not quite. This is still bigger and still infinitely better. But that Expendables one is a nice Bowie, I'll be honest. But this kicks ass. So, and again, really comfortable. And, you know, it's very dexterous, very manoeuvrable. Slash, hack, stab, thrust. You know, you can do it all. Do it all. And, you know, cut the wicks off candles if you want. You know, do whatever. Open your can of beans. Put it on your grill. There you go. It ain't designed for any of that. Its purpose, as I think I've made clear, is fairly obvious, you know. It's to cause carnage on a rather grand scale. Viewed as a short sword, the closest approximation would be the Roman gladius or the Greek xiphos. Again, short blades. They'd be longer than this, but not by much. And of course they were double-edged swords as well. But this is a knife that has the ability and capacity of being a short sword. With this, you wouldn't need a sword. You know what I mean? Folks, I have been always shall be Kilt-Man. Please, in the meantime, in this ever changing world of blades and stuff and Nepal, in between time, we have a new restaurant down the road called the Mount Everest, and it's Nepalese. We haven't been there yet. Got the menu for it the other day, and they do deliver, but want to go there as well. And they do a lot of Nepalese specialities, and some of these I'm like, oh, yeah. Having been involved with Gurkhas at Infal Barracks, and the Gurkhas do the best barbecues ever. Their goat curries, wow, Jesus. So, you know, the guys at the Khukuri House, I love you. That is a work of art. Donnie, you designed it. It's a work of art, mate. Massively pleased. So you guys, have fun, be careful, watch your fingers, and I'm going to catch you all.